Welcome to the Long Live Taylor podcast.
Believe I'm still bejeweled.
Still bejeweled when I walk in the room.
I don't even think she's trying. I think she's very out there. Like, I want you to jump my bones.
We not know about her and Joe.
We were delusional.
Yeah, you're not gonna win with that attitude.
I'm ready to win.
Ross is biting me. Stop biting. We're your hosts, Kaylan
And Leanna. Let's get ready to explore all the eras. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of Long Live Taylor Pod. We're going to be going over Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus today.
I have a confession. I've only listened to this song for a total about probably 4 times. And I don't fully understand it. 2 of the times were right before this episode aired or recording. So, Leanna, you're going to be doing a lot of the footwork. But, I figured it might be fun to do like, I'm kind of figuring out the song as we listen episode. So,
True.
I might have some revelations as we go.
True. And I have so many notes. Don't worry.
My gosh. She came ready.
I don't know. I guess I'm okay with you not knowing, like, for sure, like, everything, because then you will have those revelations. But also, like, I wish that you knew because there's so much going on.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't fully get it all, but I'm on Genius right now, and I see so many, like, annotations already. So, this is going to be a big
I read
one.
the annotations, and my notes are basically the same. I
gonna
was writing
say
my
better.
notes. No, I mean, they're very similar. I was writing my notes and I pulled up the annotation. I'm like, oh, I already wrote that down. And some of the things I was like, I'm not sure I agree with this. I'm not going to even mention it.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so before we start, this is the Genius description. Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus tells the story of a rocky relationship filled with her and self-examination. Swift watches their partner betray them, and despite trying to salvage things, their partner's focus on drugs over love leaves them feeling abandoned. Swift seems to share a longing for honesty, closure amid the heartbreak, while questioning if she'll ever be able to move on from the pain. It's deep.
That's kind of the vibe I got.
I guess let's jump right in. Verse 1. Your hologram stumbled into my apartment, hands in the hair of somebody in darkness, named Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, and I just watched it happen. As the decade would play us for fools, and you saw my bones out with somebody new, who seemed like he would have bullied you in school, and you just watched it happen.
So my first thoughts as someone who has not dissected this song, or I don't really fully get it, and it's kind of still new to me, but I really like the lines, and I just watched it happen, and you just watched it happen, because it seems to me like this relationship's kind of falling apart, or they're moving on, or there's some kind of falling out happening, and they're not doing anything about it. They've kind of accepted it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's like they're deciding that it's not worth it anymore, and they're just letting the life go on without each other.
It kind of reminds me, I don't know if it's one of my favorites, but I really love the Taylor Swift song, Come In With the Rain. The message, like, I'll leave my windows open because I'm too tired at night to play these games, or something like that. I'm hoping you'll come in with the rain. So it's like she hasn't fully given up on the relationship, but she's too tired to actually keep pursuing it, but she is, like, there's a part of her that's hoping it'll change. So that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So the first line, I know that some people think that it could be like you're looking at what the guy is doing on social media. But also it's just like imagining that he has a new lover and they're coming home, a little rendezvous. And she's, like, imagining his new life without her with somebody new.
Is it interesting that she also has a man's name in there?
Some people say yes. This is why, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, a lot of people think this has to be about Maddie because of the man's name. But there are so many parts where let me set the record. I think that this song has themes of both Joe and Maddie.
Yeah.
I don't think it is
agree.
just about one of them. Like a lot of the songs on the album, I think are a combination of the most recent relationship she's had. Because some of these, I'm like, this is this is Joe. What do you mean? But then some of these I'm like, oh, this is Maddie.
Yeah.
So I just think the overall theme of the song really, like, it cuts deep, and that's why I really like it. So I try not to let, like, who it's actually about affect my thoughts on the song.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think about the line, he would have bullied you in school?
I think it seems like the person she's with now, it kind of reminds me of Exile. I feel like there's some kind of line in Exile about, I don't know, but it seems like it's someone maybe that they both would have made fun of, or someone bigger, or like maybe it's about a jock because he was the football player, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, basically a lot of people are like, oh, Travis would have bullied Maddie in school. But, like, do you think Maddie would have bullied Joe in school?
That could. Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah. There, you know the Spider-Man meme where it's like Spider-Man's pointing at another Spider-Man at another Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yeah, so people are like, Travis, Joe, Maddie. And everyone's like, no. Maddie and Joe would not have bullied Travis.
Yeah. No way.
It could be possible for either or.
I like the line as the decade would play us for fools.
I was going to bring that one up too, because I feel like Joe and Taylor dated for a long time, almost a decade, whatever. But also Maddie and Taylor had this fling for about a decade.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I just feel like this shows that there are so many ways to interpret this, but also I feel like anyone in a long-term relationship can feel this. Like, as the decade would play us for fools, like, our long-term relationship is now turning into us, like, questioning everything.
Yeah, and that sucks. I feel like it kind of feels like you wasted a whole decade of your life.
Yeah.
Like when she says in So Long London, and I'm pissed off. I let you give... No, I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free. Yeah. It's like 10 years of her 20s, bro, or a good chunk of her 20s.
Mm-hmm. Anything else in the in verse 1?
I don't think so. I just think it's interesting that it's a girl or a guy she named.
Well, I don't know, like, obviously her reasoning for it, but I also feel like anybody could relate to this. Like, a lot of her songs are girl on guy relationship from the girl's perspective, but I feel like in this song, this could be girl on girl, girl on guy, guy on guy. Like,
yeah.
You could take it any which way you want.
Inclusivity.
Mm-hmm. Okay, chorus. If you want to break my cold, cold heart, just say I loved you the way that you were. If you want to tear my world apart, just say you've always wondered. I feel like this chorus is very up for interpretation. Not up for it, but like, this is where you need the brain of the people who understand poems. And that's not me.
So could I give my initial interpretation before I read the Genius interpretation?
Well, mine's the same as the Genius, but yes.
Okay, so my interpretation is this breakup has made her cold. And she's saying, if you want me to just break and be vulnerable again, just say that you loved me. And say that you've always wondered about getting back together. And I will melt again. Like, I will not be this cold-hearted person anymore. I will break and just come right back to you, kind of thing.
Yeah, basically.
Yay, I'm right.
But
what?
I feel like the only difference I have is, like, I don't think that she would, like... Basically, I'm thinking he likes the past version of her. And it would break her if he was like, I want that past version of us, let's try that again.
Yeah, that's what Genius is saying right now. That actually is, I feel like, opposite of what I said. Like, I feel like what I was saying is, like, him saying you don't have to change. Like, I loved you the way you were. That would actually be good to her. But Genius, and maybe you're thinking, it would actually be... she means it literally. So when I took break my heart, I took it from not actually breaking it. I took it as like becoming a human again, because she's saying it's cold. But this is saying, and it could be, and I want to know what you think, that it actually would break her heart in a bad way because she's proud of her development and progress. She's proud of the new her, but he's saying go back to your old you.
Yeah, that's how I take it. But I still think it's similar. The the effect that he has on her is similar, but it's just like an opposite reaction. Our viewpoints, I think.
This is, I feel like I'm interpreting it in a good way. That if he were to say, I loved you the way that you were, then he's,
like, it would
I'm taking it as a good thing. She'd be like, yay, like, oh my gosh, go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then she's like, if you want to tear my world apart, that's not, you think that isn't a positive light?
I'm taking all of this as positive. Like, you're tearing, like, wreck my plans, that's my man. That's a very, she's saying something destructive, but I think it's positive.
Okay.
So, I mean, I could be totally wrong if the more I listen to the song and get more into it, like that it's actually a heartbreak, but I'm taking it more as, like, tearing it apart in a good way. Like, some emotions are coming in, love's coming in.
I think because I've listened to the song so many times, and to me, it's like a heartbreak song, I didn't understand that. Like, I never thought of that, but I can totally see it.
Wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have more developments in verse 2.
You said some things that I can't unabsorb. You turned me into an idea of sorts. You needed me, but you needed drugs more, and I couldn't watch it happen. I changed into goddesses, villains, and fools, change plans and lovers, and outfits and rules, all to outrun my desertion of you, and you just watched it. Okay, so this verse makes me think yes to what you were saying earlier, that it is more of a heartbreak. Yeah. I think that, okay, so basically, like, everything he said to her cut so deep that they're gonna stick with her forever. And, like, she turned into, like, a different idea of herself. You turned me into an idea of sorts. Like, he had this whole different perspective of her that she was not. Exactly, I agree. So what are your thoughts on, you needed me, but you needed drugs more? He chose drugs over her. He's a druggie. Who do you think's the druggie? Maddie Healy. You don't think that Joe could have been on antidepressants? And those are the drugs that he needed more than her? I do think he could have been on antidepressants, and I do think he did drugs, but I don't think she would compare needing antidepressants more, like, because drug addicts will, like, do anything to get drugs, and they don't care who they hurt, or I'm speaking generally, broadly. A lot of times that can happen. But I don't think that happens with people's antidepressants. Unless it's like Xanax or an addicting substance. Yeah, I'm thinking, like, she couldn't make him happy, but his antidepressants could. Oh. But I mean, I do think this is about Maddie. I'm just saying, like, could this be interpreted differently? Yeah. I see it more as he just was addicted to drugs, and that's all he cared about. I dated an alcoholic, like an actual alcoholic. I didn't really date him, like, in a relationship because I knew he was an alcoholic, but I went on dates. And he literally, because he was engaged, and he said, I know I'm an alcoholic, and I will not give up alcohol. No, like, it ruined my engagement. I don't care who it ruins. Like, I will not give it up. Like, what relationships it ruins, I won't. And that is, like, a true addict. Wow. Yeah, so I think that's what I imagine. Just him being like, I need you, but if I have to choose one or the other, I'm choosing the drugs. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so how do you think of her saying, like, I changed into goddesses, villains, and fools? Because I know Genius has 2 different interpretations of this. I'm not sure about that exact line. I think she's just saying she became all these different people and did all these different things based off the next few lines, just trying to get her feet back on the ground after a really bad breakup and being left. What do you think? No, that's what I was thinking. I kind of felt like they were kind of like the stages of grief of the relationship to move on. But I know that Genius, somebody said, like, goddesses, villains, and fools is kind of like reputation, lover, I don't know. Nice. Something like that. How, like, she has, like, eras of her personalities, kind of, where she has these different personas. And I guess that also kind of ties into, like, where she was prior to Joe. I guess they were thinking 1989, reputation, lover. But, yeah, I agree. I think that it's, like, she tried to move on in any way possible. Yeah, I would agree with that. And been there, honey.
start dating all these different people, wearing all these different outfits, why do you think so many girls dye their hair?
True.
Or cut it, or shave it, or do something. You're like, I gotta change something up to get over this fool.
Mm-hmm. And then the chorus repeats, and then the bridge kind of breaks my heart. If the glint in my eye traced the depths of your sigh, down that passage in time, back to the moment I crashed into you like so many wrecks do, too impaired by my youth to know what to do. See, I feel like this bridge literally gives me Joe.
Explain.
I think that I don't really want to talk about like Joe being depressed. I guess really it's an assumption that he was depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if the glint in my eye traced the depths of your sigh is kind of just like, it's like she's trying to give her happiness to him. But then I feel like it could be like down that passage in time, back to the moment I crashed into you. So now it's kind of like I'm trying to bring back that memory of us meeting and how happy we were. And I feel like when she says that, I kind of like think of like unexpectedly meeting, because like didn't her and Joe meet at the Met or like an after party after the Met or something? It was very like unexpected, and I felt like also she says like too impaired by my youth, which is very confusing because she met Maddie when she was young as well, but you know, in So Long London she brings up the youth. So I feel like here, I kind of like how broad this is, because then like I kind of feel like more people can understand and relate. I don't know, I just feel like a lot of her songs about Maddie, I don't really relate to.
Yeah, they're very detailed. I think we talked about that in one of the past episodes, that I feel like this album specifically, I had to really listen and get the details to feel like I related somehow.
Yeah.
Whereas other albums I relate right away. I'm like, oh yeah, that's me.
Also, we're getting into the verse a little. I also feel like when she goes into the verse, I kind of see Joe. So, I don't know. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to take a mix of it.
I don't understand this bridge. Can I read the Genius annotation?
Uh-huh.
In the bridge, Taylor reflects on her past relationship, pondering when and where things went wrong. The dangerous only if I had done that line of thinking begins to dominate her thoughts. She analyzes every sigh from her partner, strolling down memory lane in search of clues that might explain his departure. Taylor questions whether she appeared too much like previous girls crashed into him, perhaps overly enthusiastic, too impaired by her youth.
I kind of see that.
If the glint in my eye traced the depths of your sigh.
She's like going back through all of the moments together, trying to figure out like what went wrong or like what she could have done to change the outcome of the relationship.
Right.
I see
too
that.
Impaired by my youth to know what to do. It's almost like paralyzed. She just couldn't do anything, it seems.
Yeah. And I feel like it kind of perfectly goes into the next verse, because how can she move on is like the next verse kind of, I think.
Right.
So I do like how they kind of mesh together nicely.
Yeah, it's a nice transition.
So many of my notes are on this verse. So
Ooh, okay.
Should we just get into it?
It must be juicy. Yeah, let's get into it.
So if I sell my apartment and you have some kids with an internet starlet, will that make your memory fade from the scarlet maroon like it never happened? Could it be enough to just float in your orbit? Can we watch our phantoms like watching wild horses? Cooler in theory, but not if you force it to be. It just didn't happen. That's my favorite verse, for sure. First of all, if she sells her apartment, she did.
She sold the Cornelia Street apartment, didn't she?
Yeah. Did she buy it or did she rent it? Either way.
I think she rented it.
Not hers.
Yeah.
So. And I really like how you have some kids with an internet starlet. It is like the one, you meet some woman on the internet and take her home. And now I'm like, okay, the holograms through your apartment, you took this internet starlet home, and now you're going to have kids. Basically, it's like, if I move on and you move on, like, will this make all the memories of our relationship go away?
Will it help me forget, is what I think.
Yeah. So, will that make your memory fade from this scarlet maroon like it never happened?
So scarlet, it was maroon.
Okay. Unrelated to maroon, well, sometimes in maroon I think about this also, but like, in my mind, this feels like a bruise. Like, the relationship was a bruise on her heart. And that's why she's saying, will your memory fade from the scarlet maroon? I can heal, you know?
I didn't interpret it as a bruise.
I don't know.
I interpreted it as just the whole relationship she's describing as maroon.
Yeah. But then that's why people are like, is Maroon about Maddie Healy? But then it's like, is Maroon about Joe? And now this song is actually about Joe? Like, everything is so up for interpretation.
I always thought Maroon was about Joe. From the first time I ever heard it, I said, I think this is about Joe. And my friend I was listening with was like, what? And I'm like, I think they broke up and got back together many times.
Yeah. So it's crazy. But also I feel like she's like, maybe things would have been better if they never got together. Which I feel like could have been a Maddie thing. Because, like, if they just left it as a fling in the past, maybe things, like, it wouldn't be so hard now. Now it's like the hard-ass breakup.
Yeah, that's what she says in, love of my life or whatever, LOML. She says, and I don't know if it's about Joe or Maddie again, but should have let it stayed buried. It was unnecessary. That to me sounds like a fling you reinvigorate, and then you're like, shit, why did I do this?
But I'm thinking, if her and Joe truly did break up and get back together, it also matches up. See, Morgan from that Nerd Thing podcast texted us yesterday and was like, is LOML about Maddie Healy? And I'm like, no. Because I'm in denial. I don't want it to be about Maddie.
Yeah, I don't either. It doesn't seem like something that would be about him in my mind.
I just feel like we don't have enough information about them, and we're attributing the 6-year relationship to something so meaningful that she was ready to get married. But she talks about Maddie as if she was willing to marry him too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very confusing when you don't know people's information about their life.
It's very confusing when we're just basing it all off a song and not any actual
real facts.
Insight.
But I kind of like that this song gives me like this, like, oh my god, what's going on? Because then I'm like, I feel like it just cuts deeper.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When you're not thinking about the direct relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, like, especially towards the end, it's like in their head, the end of the verse, sorry. In their head, the relationship sounded better than it actually became. So I think that's kind of why she's like, should have let it stay buried, because they thought that this could be something so amazing, and then it turned out to be terrible.
I like the line, could it be enough to just float in your orbit? I'm interpreting that as just for both of us to exist and on this planet and not really cross paths anymore, but just know that we once had something.
Yeah. Aww.
Oh yeah, Genius says, maybe nothing ever happening between them could in retrospect be less hurtful than a failed romance.
Yeah.
It might be enough to just have been around them and to have enjoyed their company while it lasted. Many people regret dating their friends because it ruins the platonic relationship. So if they could revert their decision, they would possibly say being friends was enough.
Oh,
this is interesting. It says, in addition, Swift writes, love you to the moon and Saturn on 7.
I did see that. But yeah, I think it's very sad. It's hard to think that it's sad because I don't like Maddie Healy.
You don't have to like him, but you could like the love Taylor had for him.
I don't know if I can do that.
I like the line, can we watch our phantoms like watching wild horses? I was talking to Skylar, my sister, and I was thinking about my favorite line off the whole Tortured Poets album. And as of right now, I think my favorite line is from LOML, when she says, floating phantoms on the terrace, are they secondhand embarrassed that I can't get out of bed? I think that's my favorite line, so it's kind of like the another reference to phantoms.
Yeah.
Just being haunted by her past.
Exactly. I was going to say, it seems like a lot of her past is coming back, like, into her life, and is really affecting her.
Yeah.
Okay, so the chorus kind of repeats slightly. So if you want to break my cold, cold heart, say you loved me. And if you want to tear my world apart, say you'll always wonder. But basically it's like, yeah, I did love you, and I wonder what we could have been if things didn't go wrong.
See, I'm still taking it. I think I'm sticking to my first interpretation of it breaking her heart in almost a good way. Like, it would still really hurt, but it would also feel kind of good to hear that he still loves her. And that, like,
I think it's because sorry, I'm just thinking if Maddie did ghost her, I see where you're coming from. Like, it would make her feel better, like, and have that kind of closure, but also kind of like justification.
That you actually did care.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm thinking, where it's like, okay, because I'm thinking about myself, like, it at least feels better to know they actually, like, I think there's nothing worse than when you actually go through a really bad breakup or whatever, and you feel like the person truly didn't even care about you the whole time.
Yeah.
But then when they come back and they're like, no, I did love you, it kind of hurts more, but it also feels kind of better. Well, like you said, closure, where it's like, okay, I wasn't just a fool being played. That's almost kind of how I feel like she's in this state of, like, just this cold, broken person, and she's like, it will hurt me to hear you say you loved me, but I'm also thinking of it as in a good way, like, it's gonna tear her apart.
Yeah.
In a good way, and, like,
that.
break her into a human again.
Yeah. No, I totally see that. Well, because then in the outro, she says, because I wonder, will I always wonder? So it's kind of like she's gonna wonder, so if he does too, like, she kind of will like that. That will make her feel better for always wondering as well. So it does make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, I like this genius. This is similar to the song Cardigan, where she says, I knew you'd haunt all my what-ifs.
Yeah. You know, I did hear a wild theory that the love triangle in folklore is real.
I heard that, too.
Yeah. This girl's life is
a lot more
dramatic.
Sense. Very dramatic.
Imagine being a fly on that wall and hearing all the tea. Wow.
Why'd you want to pick this song?
I was listening to it on my drive home, and I really, really like this song. And I liked it better than our other option, I think.
Yeah.
And I also felt like this one might be a little more popular and has some little controversy about who it's about.
Nice.
That's why.
Yeah, I think I'll like it the more I listen to it. I'm just still not the biggest fan of the anthology.
At least you know how to say anthology now.
That's a step up for me.
I mean, I understand.
Anthropology.
Jeez. I understand because some of them aren't as good as the others, but I feel like you just got to give them a chance.
How dare you?
We got it. Okay,
we have to drop everything now. Okay, I'm playing you a song.
Okay. Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus? How?
Because I didn't put it on shuffle.
Oh my gosh.
I have it on repeat by accident. Okay.
Okay,
my
ready?
Turn. Mm-hmm. Sparks Fly.
Yes.
I love that song. I have such good memories because that was my surprise song at the Eras Tour Nashville.
That is such a good song. That used to be my favorite on the album for so long.
And the guy, never mind, I'll tell you the story later. Okay, anyway, next.
I couldn't hear it really well.
It.
I want to guess, though, in case... Fortnite.
Yeah.
I was going to guess Fortnite. I swear.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know if I heard that or if I'm making it up.
No, you were right.
Okay, ready?
Yes. That's hard.
Do you need to turn me up? Because it's really just one... It's one note, basically, at the beginning.
Okay, do it again.
2 notes.
The Black Dog?
Yeah. Good job.
I don't even listen to that a lot.
So much for not listening to Anthology. I thought you might not get that one.
I actually like The Black Dog. Okay. Wait, that was an Olivia Rodrigo song. Okay.
I have no idea.
I'm stripping my dress unbuttoned.
Wow.
Screaming, but Daddy, I love him.
Yeah, I haven't listened to Torture Poets enough to get them all. There's no way I would get it. Wow. Okay.
I would! And I'm
Congratulations.
not doing our outro.
You can if you want.
No, it's your turn.
You want to guess this song that I have pulled up because I think you'll get it wrong.
Okay. Wait, did I win?
Actually, there's no way you get that wrong.
The very first night.
Yeah. I didn't realize how
Woo!
easy it was
So I officially won.
I thought you went first. Didn't you go first anyway? Oh, no, I did.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. You officially won.
Yay.
Okay, and I didn't even purposely lose. I actually tried.
Yay.
Okay, so thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully this episode wasn't boring. I felt like it's just not really a funny song. And I felt like it was very deep, and we might have gotten very deep. So hopefully you enjoyed. Maybe a little switch up from what we have been saying recently.
We've been very spicy.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening or watching. Make sure you give us a follow on Instagram or TikTok at Long Live Taylor Pod, and you can send us an email with your questions, comments, concerns, any requests if you want to be a guest at longlivetaylorpod@gmail.com. Leave us a review if you liked us, and be back next week. Bye.
Bye.
Aww.